Nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. And this is relevant to what we're seeing over here about seeing the face of the Lord, because Moses went up on the mount and saw the face of the Lord, right? He was in the presence of the Lord. And he came down, and symbolically, we're learning this is all symbolic. Symbolically, his countenance shone with light and truth. These are themes we're going to get into in section 93. And that had to be hidden from the children of Israel with a veil. So it wasn't his literal face being hidden. It was light and truth that was being concealed through a veil. And the way to access that light and truth, right, there was an order of operations, an established way of how to access that light and truth. So the veil over Moses' face was concealing priesthood knowledge, Melchizedek priesthood knowledge that could, right, that Moses did not want to plainly manifest unto the children of Israel, presumably because they were into worshiping golden calves. And he thought,
or other things.
Or of the sort, yeah. Okay, so when we talk about, hey, if you do these things, forsake your sins, come unto me, call upon my name, obey my voice, keep my commandments, and you shall see my face and know that I am, I suggest to you that seeing his face is coming to a plain understanding of the priesthood order of God, the order of the Son of God, which comes from the priesthood of the Father. And then we can understand clearly and plainly who God is, who Jesus Christ is, and our relationship with them.
Yeah, it's as if these verses are setting up what would come in the restoration, where for so many they were seeking to see the literal face of God, and it's not that that's not available. It's not that that isn't going to happen. It will eventually. But it's like these verses are teaching and setting the stage for, if you live righteously, if you do everything that is going to be asked of you over the coming months and years, as the saints would be asked to do significant things, that you would essentially see the face of God. Or, you know what I compare this to today is when we talk about entering the presence of God. That's kind of the terminology we use today in the temple. And I've contested for a while now that we go to the temple and we perform work there, and we get focused on this idea of, I want to do these things, I need to do these things so that someday I can enter the presence of God. But my contention is that by entering into these sacred covenants, by accepting a greater fullness of the holy priesthood of God, entering into his order more completely, that you actually are entering into his presence. Or, as DNC 93 says, you are now seeing his face. Nothing is being held back from you. He is revealing his pattern, his model, his mode of operation to you. Like that's the deeper and yet the more plain and precious interpretation, is that you can have that now. Like, living in the presence of the Father is available to us today. And we have said that, but this really kind of makes it obvious that this is exactly what the Father is offering to us.
Yeah, and that's what we see in the temple ceremony. At what point do you enter into celestial glory, or the presence of the Father and the Son? Once you are done being initiated into the priesthood order. And then that veil can be taken away, and you can see celestial society as it really is. And that's what we're getting at here. Thank you for watching. If you found this content spiritually enlightening, please like, comment, and subscribe.
Like the gospel, these little things make all the difference, and it helps the algorithm push out better content for everyone to enjoy on YouTube.